A life-changing event. Something that almost everyone experiences at some point in their life. Many people, when they do a chapel speech, talk about a life-changing event. I remember so many amazing speeches from past years, where the speakers talked about challenging norms, overcoming difficulties, or persevering to get to where they are today. When I got the email from Dr. Carter over the summer, letting me know the date of my chapel speech, I started thinking about what I would talk about. And looking back at past speeches, I decided that I would talk about a major event in my life, a life-changing event. The problem I found was that I didn't have a life-changing event to talk about. I've experienced amazing things, and I've had to overcome challenges and difficulties, but nothing that I would consider life-changing. At first, I found this kind of sad, but then I started thinking about it, and I changed my mind. This wasn't sad, this was amazing. I've been blessed in my 17 years not to have to deal with a difficult situation or challenge that has changed my life. Having talked about my dilemma with other people, I found that I was not the only one who experienced an event worthy of a chapel speech, a life-changing event. I realized, though, that through Appleby, I've experienced many small challenges where I've had to persevere. I realized Appleby has been my life-changing event. I've enjoyed all aspects of Appleby while I've been here, and I found out some things about Appleby. There are so many opportunities to take advantage of, but you need to work for it. If you want to get the most out of your education and experience at Appleby, you need to persevere. For those of you who don't know, I live in Guelph. Guelph is about an hour away from Appleby, so every morning for 5 years, I would wake up at 6 a.m., be on the road by 6:45, and if there was no traffic, arrive at school just in time to get to my locker and get to class. I will admit, this was a struggle. Some mornings I didn't want to get out of bed. To put on my uniform and get in the car and drive seemed less than ideal. At times during the year, I would leave before the sun rose, and because of our after-school co-curricular, return home after the sun had set. There are a few months every year that I do not see the sun in Guelph on weekdays. Of course, I've had a different experience than most people at Appleby because I've lived in Guelph. Homework, for one, was a lot more challenging. Since I was in the car for an hour after school every day, that was one less hour that I had for homework every night. Along with playing rep soccer and training throughout the school year, I learned to be very productive in my homework. I couldn't procrastinate or multitask, because if I did, I wouldn't finish my homework. There were also challenges with evening and weekend events at the school. Because I lived an hour away, I often decided that I wouldn't go to an event if it wasn't mandatory to save myself and my parents from the hour drive to and from school. Sometimes, this left me feeling a bit isolated from my friend group and those in my grade who lived in Oakville. Every year that I was a day student, I faced difficulty with my academics, but to continue to be successful and to get the most from my education, I persevered. I know some of you are thinking, that is crazy. How could you drive 2 hours every day for 5 years? But that isn't even the worst part. I played hockey on the junior varsity team in upper school. For those of you who don't know, once a week, there's a 6 a.m. practice. So instead of waking up at 6 a.m. to get to school, I needed to get to school for 6 a.m. That meant getting up at 4:30 in the morning, climbing in the car, and driving an hour. It was definitely tough, and at times I questioned my sanity. But the funny thing was that I drove an hour to get to the early morning hockey practice, and when I would arrive there every morning, I'd be the first person there. I would just sit there, question my sanity once again, and wait for the next person to arrive. To get the most out of my experience of being on the hockey team, I realized that I needed to get to the morning practice. While waking up at 4:30 was very tough, I persevered. I knew that getting to the practice would help my team. I also knew that once I got to the practice, I would enjoy it and become a better player. To get the most out of my athletic program, I persevered. Playing hockey was always part of the plan when I entered Appleby. So was playing soccer, but beyond that, I didn't know what to do or who I would become. Before entering Appleby, I was an athlete, but no more. When choosing my courses, I thought long and hard about the musical choice. I had never played an instrument before, and I didn't know if I was musical or not. So there I was with 3 options: vocals, strings, or instrumental. I quickly decided not to do vocals. It was a no-brainer. I didn't want to hurt anyone's ears. So it was down to instrumental or strings. Having always been partial to the sound of a horn or the sound of a string instrument, I decided that I would join the instrumental class. I didn't really know what I was getting into, nor if I would enjoy it, but I thought that I wouldn't need to take it for long if I didn't enjoy it or if I was just bad. When I entered the music room on the first day, I was completely overwhelmed. There were so many people who knew how to play an instrument, and they sounded so good doing it. In the class, everyone had a chance to say what instrument they were going to play. Not having any idea, I chose the saxophone. Having listened to the song Take 5 by Dave Brubeck with my dad many times, I knew the sound of the saxophone sounded nice. I remember being given the instrument and taking it home the first weekend to try and play it. It was hilarious to listen to. I blew into the saxophone, expecting a nice smooth jazz sound, but heard a high-pitched squeal instead. I started to laugh, only causing more of the same sound to echo around my living room. I thought it was hopeless, but there was no way I was going to learn how to play this instrument, but I persevered and continued to work on it. And when Mr. B and Ms. Dupuis weren't threatening to put us in the speakers, they really helped me learn the instrument. When I started to actually play the instrument, I really enjoyed the class. I remember our first concert was the Christmas concert, and we were playing the classics. From an outside ear, it was probably deafening, but to me, it was the greatest concert that I have ever been a part of. It was also my first. That was the moment I fell in love with music class and playing the saxophone. I've enjoyed playing so much that I didn't drop the class the next year, and the year after that, and so on. I'm still taking music this year, and I still love it. To get the most out of my musical experience, I persevered. When I entered the school, I was an athlete. When I leave the school in June, I will still be an athlete, but I can proudly call myself a musician, because I worked hard to learn and love my instrument. Through my time at Appleby, I learned to love school. Before enrolling at Appleby, the idea of school kind of turned me off. There are aspects of school that I was fine with, but the whole thought of school was not high on my list of favorite things. After 5 years of Appleby, I can confidently say I love school. I'm now the type of person that doesn't like to miss school because I'm sick. I remember one time in class last year, I was talking about my concussion that I sustained that summer. I was talking about how it was so boring sitting not doing anything, but I needed to make sure that I recovered from my concussion quickly, so I didn't miss school that was due to start up in 3 weeks' time. After saying that, one person in my class interrupted me and said, "Jack, you have completely different priorities than I do." But it's true, I didn't want to miss school, and I might have different priorities from others because of it. Appleby has so many opportunities, but to truly take advantage of them and to enjoy it, you have to work hard for it and persevere in those difficult moments. People often ask me why I chose Appleby. Every time I say something different. It's a great school. The athletic program is amazing. I like the idea of Appleby being an East school. There are many reasons why I chose Appleby, but it came down to a gut feeling. My gut could have been totally wrong, and if I gave up the first time something was too hard or I couldn't do something, I wouldn't be here today. The key to my happiness at the school has been hard work. As weird as it sounds, the more you practice an instrument, work on an assignment, or train with a team, the more you will enjoy it. At the end of the day, when you look back at your time at Appleby, you'll think about the memories that you had of playing on a team and scoring a goal, performing in concert and rocking that solo, or working on an assignment and getting 100%. Those memories, those happy memories, are within reach if you work hard. If you all enjoy Appleby, that's great. If some of you don't, I'm sure at some point you will change your mind. Even though Appleby is a tough school, it will only be harder if you don't work and slack off. You will not enjoy your time here. For S2s, this is our last year at Appleby before we head off in our different directions. We all want to leave Appleby with memories, fun memories that we will remember years down the road. It is simple to do. Any task you're working on, any new thing you're trying, give it 100%. And if you fail or stumble, don't give up. Get the most from your experience at Appleby. See your goal to the end. Persevere. S1s, you're just under 2 years from your next chapter, and believe me when I say it flies by. I know everyone says it, but it's true. Make these moments now last. If you have your heart set on something, do it. Make it happen. If you want to be a singer, go for it. If you want to get 100 on a test, study away. And if something gets in your way or slows you down, persevere. Appleby gives you so many opportunities to make lasting memories and gain new experiences. It is up to you if you want to take advantage of it. Work for it, because at Appleby, you get what you put in. Now please join me in singing hymn 3 of 5-2.